Welcome back to Takedown TV. The 2019 NCAA Championships are over. Kyvan Gadsden is back from the World Cup. Tony Hager here, back from Pittsburgh. Lots to break down here, Kyvan.
So much.
But first off, dude, I mean, the hat. You're back from the World Cup. How'd it go for U.S.?
We took bronze. We lost to Iran in our pool, 5-5. I'll take blame for that. I lost my match, and that would have got us over the hump. We'd have won 6-4. We took bronze as a team. I went 3-1 individually. I think I could have wrestled better, but growth.
Growth? I mean, what's the biggest challenge for traveling and wrestling overseas? What's the biggest hurdle?
I think the biggest thing for me is just the mental. It's a lot. It's draining. It's taxing. We flew over on the 11th, stayed a night in Moscow. Then we went from Moscow, which was already a 8-hour flight. Then we flew from Moscow to Yakutsk, which was a 6-hour flight and a 6-hour time change. So we were 14 hours ahead of Central Time, and for me. And so that was probably the toughest thing. But I thought I got adjusted pretty well, and I thought I wrestled relatively okay. I just don't think I got to my offense enough.
Was it just too cold? I mean, did you need the hat? I mean, those things come down. They flap. They flap down?
They do flap down, but the guards never wear them flap down. So I just figured I'd just keep them up.
All right. So let's get to the NCAA Championships. Lots of positives and negatives from Pittsburgh, I think. But let's start with the positive. What do you think was the best thing that you saw that came away from the championships this year?
The best thing I saw was the parity. That was for me. It was the first time. I guess that's what I would call it, the first time segment. You had Rutgers, who had 2 NCAA champs in the span of 40 minutes after not ever having one in program history. Their program top 10 now, and Scott Goodell took the program from basically nothing in one of the best high school wrestling states, right? That's the thing. He was a high school coach, went to Rutgers, built their program up, 2 national champs in the span of 40 minutes. But my best story, I think, was, for me personally, was Mekhi Lewis. 29-2 coming into the NCAA championship, so it's going to be 34-2, right? And doesn't give up a takedown. Not one takedown. And arguably one of the toughest weight classes outside of, I think, 133. So he just came to wrestle, beat a 2-time defending champ. We're kind of seeing that same thing that we saw maybe a couple years back where no one could get 3 titles, right, at heavyweight.
Yep.
You had Nelson, you had Gwiz. No one had been able to get over that 3-time hump until Kyle Snyder did it, right? And so I was really impressed with Mekhi Lewis. Obviously, he's a junior world champ, so everyone knew he could wrestle. But we've seen junior world champs come into the NCAA and not have the, maybe the expected results. And he was one of the not as high-profile junior world champs, right?
And just before the NCAA championships, he wasn't a household name.
Right.
He is now. I think the folk-style fans really that don't follow freestyle didn't really know who Lewis was, but they do now, man.
Yes, for sure. And so that was my feel-good story. Went from 8 seed to NCAA champ, beating a 2-time champion Vincenzo Joseph, and then winning most outstanding wrestler. When you had 2 3-timers win that night too.
Yeah, Nolf is arguably going to likely get the Nolf or Nickel will get the Hodge. I think Nickel will get it now after Nolf almost got beat in the semis, but we'll see how that plays out. But Mekhi Lewis, man, that's a household name now, and that's what the NCAA championships can do for you. You knock off some guys and you win that national title. I mean, my best of is Drew Foster from Northern Iowa.
Drew Foster.
He's been there before, but what I really enjoy about this story is he was an All-American 2 years ago. Right. Last year he went 0-2. He was watching Saturday from the stands.
And Friday. Huh?
Yeah, Friday night. Yeah. Right. So he was. Yeah, no, he would have been
all
day Friday.
All day Friday, yeah.
Yep. And was never a state champ in Iowa. Yep. And for that story to unfold, I think gives a lot of kids hope.
Right.
That are in that situation that maybe you're not thinking about going Division I, or they spent 2 years at Division I program and they're getting their butt kicked. Because you go from high school to college, it's a completely different level. I mean, you have to be, in today's world, dedicated day in, day out. You have to live the lifestyle. I'm not a Division I athlete, but just talking with athletes and just seeing how their mind works and talking to coaches about how these guys are going from, 0-2 to national title, how they live is completely different now.
I would say Foster would get the most improved wrestler award. Has to. Like Mike Marino won that, I think, in 2013 after going like 4-17 the year before and then becoming an All-American. But the jump that Drew Foster made from going 0-2 last year, like you said, watching Friday and Saturday all day and being able to essentially master his mind, right? Like, it's a mind thing. It usually is. It's always a mind thing when you get to the level of Division I athletics and then even on. It's a mind thing. So that's a kudos to him and his coaching staff. Like, can you talk about the relationship that people have maybe talked about with his coaching staff and what they've done for him?
Yeah, Randy Pugh, assistant coach for them, came to him and, he even said, like, I'm not for, people say, like, I'm not for sure if you're a Division I wrestler, but he just went out and proved it. And I think for him to, what his words were at their final show, or the tribute, I guess all the wrestlers came to the UNI party afterwards. They were just like believing. The coaches, they told me to believe in them and trust the process. And Drew Foster, lived that out, and I think that was the difference maker. Is he listened to his coaches, where it could be so easy to just go down a path where you go 0-2 and you're like, man, my coaches maybe don't know what they're talking about.
Right.
And it's all the individuals. The coaches can only do so much. It comes down to the individual, but that coach is who can steer somebody in the right way.
For sure.
All right, the worst stuff. I feel like with social media, we see people don't talk about the positives; they talk about the negatives. What was the worst part that you took away from this NCAA Championships?
Personally, I think it was the officiating and the challenge brick. I'm kind of like at odds with which one, but some of the things, just the officiating, and I'm not one to like go at officials because I know their job is hard. It's a tough job, but it just felt like the officiating was inconsistent. Like, things that were called one way at a different time weren't called the same way at this time. So it was the inconsistency that bothered me. And then on top of that, one of the things I saw in the finals was the challenge brick. Like, it's being thrown out just to either get breaks, give your guy a break to refocus, compose himself. And then how can you challenge something like at 133 pounds, you don't have any challenges left, and you tell the ref, you need to look at something, and the ref goes and does it.
Yeah.
That can't happen. Like, that doesn't happen, and there's no consequences for it, and that's the issue that I would have with the challenge brick and just the officiating. And so I hope those things get kind of figured out over the summer. I don't want to be official though. I don't blame the coaches for throwing the brick, because that's what the rules are. But by using it for a break, it changes the momentum greatly at a level like that, especially in the finals. My worst part about the NCAA championships comes in the lines of the officials. We all know that they have a tough job. Calling live action is got to be completely on that stage, got to be difficult. The review process is what I have. The biggest problem was it's in the rules that you can hire a third party to come in and review that. What I think has to change is, one, they've got to have a third party. The official that's making the call on the mat cannot be the person saying, well, I messed up. No one wants to be wrong. Right. That review process is just brutal right now, and the numbers of challenges that were thrown out to overturn is not good. And that should prove that the challenge process, like you said, is flawed. Being used for the wrong way. It's flawed. Yeah, it's definitely flawed.
All right, so that was the best and the worst of the NCAA championships. We're going to break down each weight class. When we get back from break, 125 to 285, we have highs and lows, positives and negatives. We've got storylines that were great at the NCAA championships. Right after the break, right here on Takedown TV, brought to you by Casey's General Stores.
There's a reason people keep coming back to Casey's. Maybe it's because we've been serving communities like yours for over 50 years. Maybe it's the smiles and friendly conversation you'll find here. Or maybe it's because we continue to spend the extra time preparing our made-from-scratch pizza the way you want it. Right now, get any 2 large single-topping pizzas for only $9.99 each. Casey's, famous for pizza.
Welcome to Fairway, where we're not a mega food, fashion, fitness, you name it center. For 80 years, we've been your neighborhood meat and grocery store, focused on cutting you the highest quality meats for your backyard barbecue, providing the freshest ingredients for your summer salad, and making sure your shopping trip is as easy and sweet as Grandma's blueberry pie. So while others try to put it all under one roof, at Fairway, we put our all into meat and grocery.
I had a student athlete that had a skin infection on his foot, and we take it pretty serious, you know. But this one was pretty serious from the standpoint of what it looked like. I'm not going to talk about the infection he had and what type it was, but it was serious enough that I was really concerned we were going to lose him for, 4 to 6 weeks that it was going to take to heal this up. With the skin defense and spraying it directly on it, took 7 days. It's not a story, this is a true story. It took 7 days, and my experience with infections like that in the past, it was going to take a long time. That's how much I believe in pure and clean, and that's how much I believe in their skin defense. Pretty amazing what it can do.
Welcome back to Takedown TV. Kyvan Gatson, Tony Hager here. It's time to break down each weight class at the NCAA Championships in Pittsburgh. Starting at 125 pounds, Spencer Lee gets back to the finals. I think a lot of people were really kind of down on him, whether he could get it done. He lost to Rivera in the Big Tens, at the Midlands Championships against Jack Mueller. Heck of a story for Virginia. This weight class, I think going in, you expected Spencer Lee to, he just was a gamer last year at the NCAA Championships, but there was that doubt whether he was healthy or what. What are your thoughts on Spencer Lee going back to back here?
Well, it was good. He wrestled extremely tough, and that's who he is, and that's what we've seen from him at big competitions is that he shows up. My pick was Mueller, and it cost me. I had a friendly Twitter wager with Josh Schamberger, and he had sent a gift for my daughter that was born in December, and she ended up in an Iowa singlet because Lee won. So that was definitely
first time that there's been black and yellow for Gatson.
Yeah, for sure. But Lee wrestled tough. He controlled the whole match. He didn't give Mueller really the opportunity to turn him, and it was big. He got the first takedown, and I think that's what set the tone. That's
usually, Spencer Lee, first period is what they always say. Like, if you can avoid Spencer Lee for a first period, you're in good shape at that point because he just keeps on the attack. He got that early takedown, and I think at that point, Iowa fans were like, all right, no, we feel good. He looks good on his feet. In the second period, I was surprised to see him go down because that's where Mueller is good. But it took him a while to get out. He gave up some riding time. He racked him up in the first period. Right. Just able to control the center when he got up to his feet. In the third period, able to just really control the match at that point. Didn't let up on the gas pedal, and I think that was what we've been needing to see from Spencer Lee. But going back to back, like you said, stepping up on the big stage. He's been at the world stage, so it'd be good to see. We talked to him on Takedown Radio on Saturday, hopefully, about what he thinks was the reason why he maybe suffered a few losses earlier. Was it health or just mental or what it was? Any more thoughts on 25? All right, 33, Nick Suriano, Rutgers. The Rutgers get their first champ at 33. Dayton Fix, Oklahoma State. This did not come without any controversy, though. This was what the hype lived up to. Obviously, Dayton Fix, the big name, Nick Suriano. Him and Zasanto have been going back and forth. What are your thoughts on that matchup?
I thought it was good. I was glad that it was able to end in a takedown. Obviously, there was some controversy about a headgear pull, and there was just a lot of stoppages due to, I think, things that we could control. But I think they both wrestled hard. Someone had to lose. Suriano came out the victor, and I think that obviously felt good to him. He talked a lot about the struggles that he had went through mentally, emotionally, and physically to get to that point, and so it was good for him to come out on top.
There definitely was a headgear pull. I mean, that was. I mean, it was blatant. I mean, he was just pulled on it, and I don't blame John Smith for being upset at this point. But at the end of the day, takedown got the job done. Nick Suriano. Out of all the guys that won it, I think he's the one that has has gone through some mental stuff, right? You see it on him. He wears his heart on his sleeve. At the Big Ten Championships, you saw it. You've seen it in his interviews. He had to go through a lot of mental stuff. He's a guy that he listens to himself before his matches. And I'm not sure what exactly on those recordings, but he's probably telling him to stay positive and not overthink it. So I'm happy for Rutgers, for one, and for Nick Suriano to overcome maybe some of those demons. And every wrestler's got some of those demons that they probably think of. So kudos to Nick Suriano. Kudos to Scott Goodell for getting. He stepped off the bus and he was wearing a peacock shirt. I don't know if you've seen that yet.
I
but
didn't.
Just
I haven't
an
seen
ugly shirt. Rutgers had a huge home welcoming for their national champs, and he had a peacock season shirt.
Peacock strut their feathers, right?
All right, 141, Yanni Diakomahalis, Cornell, up against Joey McKenna, Ohio State. It looked like it was going to be, McKenna was going to be able to slay him. You know, he controlled the center, got the takedowns. He was leading clear up into the third period.
Right.
And McKenna got it. McKenna just kind of, I don't know if he slipped or Yanni just goes into Yanni mode and gets the job done when it counts.
Right, and the thing that I saw from McKenna is he has that beautiful head inside single, and I was like, I don't think that's the takedown to beat him. And as the match went on, it just kind of showed that wasn't the takedown that was going to beat him. Yanni is so flexible, so strong in wrestling. His wrestling IQ is really high. And so I thought the way that you were going to beat Yanni is maybe you get that one takedown first. I don't know if you're going to go back to it, but I thought you were going to have to get both legs and take him up and put him down. And that's not what happened. He kept getting to that single, and that single kind of turned it over to Yanni to wrestle out of those positions.
This is one of those the matchups when we're talking about the review process and the officials. Takedown in the second period possible. I mean, the third. I mean, it was Tom Ryan's not happy. Do you blame him? What are your thoughts on kind of the calls? I mean, it was touch and go there, I guess, as far as it could go either way. I think one of them definitely was not a takedown, but
yeah, I think one of them wasn't a takedown, and then one of them was. So I think it's kind of like a poetic justice in a certain way.
Yeah, it worked itself out. All right, so we've gone up through 41. We got other weight classes to break. We got a ton of breakdown after the break here, all right? So 25, 33, 41. We'll be back after this short timeout, brought to you by Pure and Clean Sports, right here on Takedown TV.
Threats from contagious fungal infections such as ringworm, athlete's foot, and jock itch can be present anywhere. Defense Soap Antifungal Medicated Bars contain FDA-approved tonaftate and are specifically formulated to clean and relieve skin affected by these infections. Defense Soap Antifungal Medicated Bars help reduce or eliminate the itching, burning, and other discomforts associated with most fungal infections. Defense Soap Antifungal Medicated Bars, effective in treating most fungal infections. Available on Amazon and at defensesoap.com.
Hi, I'm Wayne Boyd, Director of Operations and Development for Titan Mercury Wrestling Club. The club was founded to help wrestling worldwide, especially at our senior level, of course at the collegiate level and the high school level. But the most important level for Titan Mercury Wrestling Club is the kids level. And these are some of the guys today that will be tomorrow's Olympic champions. Let's hear it, guys.
Titan Mercury!
That's Titan Mercury Wrestling Club, San Marino, California.
Welcome back to Takedown TV. We're up at 149 pounds, breaking down the finals recap here. Anthony Ashnault of Rutgers versus Micah Jordan. This one went down to the wire. I think this one was closer than I think people thought because Ashnault has just been dominant at this weight class. But one little mistake like that can cost you a national championship. And you feel for Micah, but Ashnault was able to, capitalize on his mistake.
Yeah, just in the Jordan family in general, they've had a bunch of tough wrestlers, and none of them have been able to get to that NCAA title. And I think there's one left, maybe Rocky, the baby brother. So, but Ashnault wrestled tough. I mean, he knew what he wanted to do, knew where he was at. He wrestled tough all season. He wasn't my pick coming into the season, but he showed it. 6-year senior, got his opportunity, and he went undefeated with it.
So 2 champs for Rutgers. Scott Goodell, we talked about it earlier. That's a heck of a story for them. All right, 165, Mekhi Lewis versus Vincenzo Joseph. We touched on that a little bit. Story of the tournament. He won the OW there, so I don't want to break down that anymore. You can go back to the first segment and check that out. Then we've got Mark Hall.
Right.
First, Zahid Valencia. This is one of the best rivalries in college wrestling right now.
For sure.
I think it looked like it was going to be Mark Hall's year. He beat him earlier in the year, but Valencia gets it done.
Right, and the thing that stuck out for me with Valencia was he was like, he was like, thank you, David Lewis, or Daniel Lewis. Thank you, Daniel Lewis and Mark Hall, because without those losses, I wouldn't have looked inside myself. And the only other person that I've known to say that is Jaden Cox. Like, he came to me in 2014 when he won his NCAA title. Before the NCAA finals, he comes up to me and he's like, thank you. And I'm like, thank you. And he's like, yeah, thank you. Like, without that loss to you, like, I wouldn't be where I'm at. And I'm like, yo, I'll give it back right now, bro. Like, you about to wrestle in the NCAA finals. I got 4th. Yeah. But that was one of the only people, like, I've ever heard speak like that to a competitor and put it out there, like that. This helped me, And so it just speaks a lot about Zahid, and it speaks a lot about Hall, too. Like, I guess right afterwards, Hall was signing autographs for kids and things like that. So it just speaks about their character and their maturity.
I think what these guys are able to do on this stage now, what they have in social media with ESPN, is it really can help a young wrestler, a youth wrestler. We're talking like 4th, 5th graders that are just, they're crying after these big matches.
Right.
And they should learn from these guys.
Right.
Learn from your defeats. Realize that those losses don't mean anything unless if you're at the top of the stand at the end of March. They always say March is when it matters.
Right.
It truly does. So those losses can be positives. All right, moving up to 84, Drew Foster, Max Dean. I think the Max Dean story is great too. I mean, seeing Cornell in the finals, Drew Foster gets it done late, gets the W for Northern Iowa, first national champ since 2000.
Tony Davis.
Yes. So huge for recruiting for Doug Schwab in a state now with Iowa, where you got Iowa State coming at people's heels. I think that was a great year for Iowa State. Whole nother topic that we can touch on, but let's move it up to Bo Nickel versus Colin Moore. This one just didn't. Bo Nickel's been a guy that is probably in the lead for the Hodge Trophy.
Right.
But I feel like Bo Nickel didn't do a whole lot. Not a whole lot flashy. I don't know if he was just protecting a little bit.
Yeah.
Colin Moore just couldn't get anything done. But Bo Nickel obviously got the job done. I think it was like 5-1. I think the final score was.
I think it was just a controlled, dominant match between Colin Moore this time, and I don't think Colin Moore wanted to take as many risks, and Bo just was okay. I don't think he felt threatened anywhere, so he's just like, all right, we'll see. And that's what he did.
He's been a guy that's taken risks, and people always think like those high risks have gotten him in trouble before. But I feel like maybe the coaches just said you can win this match if you just keep cool, calm, collected, and stay solid. So Bo Nickel gets a champ. At 97 to end the night. They started at 285. So
right.
I'm bumping up here to Anthony Cassar versus Derek White. Derek White for Oklahoma State just couldn't do anything. Right. I mean, Cassar just dominated. I mean, that was one of the most dominant 285-pound matches that we've seen in a while, where a guy just goes and just almost effortlessly getting past Gable Stevenson surprised me. Once he got past Gable, Derek White was no competition, unfortunately.
Yeah, and what I saw was, I can feel for Anthony Cassar because I had the same shoulder surgeries he had, and I think he was probably at a point where he was like, I don't know if I'm ever going to wrestle again. One time New Jersey State champ, right? And then he finds himself in the NCAA finals at his first appearance, and then he finds himself winning it at his first appearance. So it just speaks to his mental fortitude and the ability he possesses in his mind. I think that's more where it happens, is in his mind. And so it was awesome for him to come away with that.
All right, that's been our breakdown. Kyvan Gatson, Tony Hager of the NCAA Championships. We'll be back next week, and we're going to break, let us know on Twitter, Gatson Strong, Hager, Tony. Let us know what you took your takeaways from the NCAA Championships, and maybe we'll break down this review process and officials going forward right here on Takedown. Thanks for watching.